Greetings, friends, and welcome to your April Badass Skill of the Month. Now we have two skills in our combo this month. The first one being this low and high whip. And then you have the head catch, which starts from an open hand flip, and you catch it on top of your head. Your prerequisite skill before you go on to this high-low whip is going to be forward figure eights. Really simple skill, and I've covered it before in my basic flow tutorial. So if you haven't learned that one yet, go check that out. I'll link it in the description down below. We'll be here when you're ready. The other skill we need to work on for our high-low whips is a wrist roll. Really simple skill, you'll be able to do it on the first try. Basically, you're just taking that basic flow, that forward figure eight, and you're gonna do the back half of it. So you're gonna let that top end drop forward, and it's just gonna come and swing around and just draw a circle behind your body. In our high-low whip, you're gonna notice that we have a top half and we have a bottom half. And we're gonna start with the top half first. So you're gonna come from your forward figure eights. Your hand is at 3 o'clock right now. When you're ready, you're gonna drop your hand down through 3, through 6 o'clock, up to 9 o'clock, and then you're gonna end at 12 o'clock. Now you can keep this arm straight or you can bend it depending on how long your stick is or how high your ceiling is. But when your stick is pointing straight up to 12 o'clock, so my top end of my lightsaber here is pointing to 12 o'clock, then I'm gonna add this wrist roll that we've already practiced. And all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring the stick behind my head, around, and back out. So all I've done is that wrist roll, but I've done it in the 12 o'clock position. So the front of my stick is going in front of my face, the top of my stick is going behind my head. So that is your high whip of our high-low series. Forward figure eight, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock, drop that top end to the right, push it back out. And that's a repetitive skill, so you could keep doing that, and that would still look awesome. Now let's talk about the low whip of our section. This one's a little bit trickier because you're working behind your back, and so you might get a little disorientated back there, but I want you to always be thinking about the tip of your stick or your sword. Now this low whip is gonna start exactly the same way as your high whip. Forward figure eights, arm at 3 o'clock. And you're gonna drop this arm to 6 o'clock, but rather than coming in front like we did for our high whip, you're gonna drop it behind your back so that the tip of your stick or your sword is pointing towards the left. From the back, forward figure eights, 3 o'clock, I drop it to 6 o'clock, and I'm just gonna place the back of my hand in the middle of my back. Notice I didn't do any extra turning. This is not what I want you to do yet, okay? 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Now here's where it gets tricky, because your job is to keep this staff or sword moving while keeping it vertical, which can be quite difficult back here because you have a limited range of mobility with your wrist. So two things are gonna happen. One, this sword end, the blade end of your sword or your stick, is gonna continue to come up through 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock. When you get to about, I don't know, 11:30, that's when you're gonna start moving your right hand. Your right hand should be palm up on your back, like this. So you're holding onto your sword with your palm facing out. What you're gonna do is you're gonna drag your knuckles along your waist in this internally rotated position till you get as close to your belly button as you can. That is what's gonna make your sword tip stay vertical. Okay, so when your sword goes from 9 o'clock where it is now to 11:30, that's when I'm gonna start dragging my hand across my belly to my belly button so that my sword tip travels as vertical as it can at the back. And then when I get to this position where I just can't move my elbow and my wrist and my sword anymore, that's when you're gonna straighten your arm through this backhand position and you can continue that circle. So you're gonna push down to 6 o'clock. So I went from 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock behind my back. My sword point is facing 9 o'clock. It's gonna continue to come up to 11:30. Then when I get to 11:30, I'm gonna try and keep that stick moving. Look how it's moving through 12 and 1 and 2. And I'm gonna bring this hand forward, internally rotated. If it feels awkward, you're doing it right. When I go as far as I can with my mobility, I'm gonna drop my hand down to 6 o'clock. I'm gonna unwind my wrist, 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock, and then I can come back out to my forward figure eights. Now this skill is actually gonna be a little bit easier if you go a little bit faster. So you can use the momentum and the weight of your staff or your sword to get that vertical pattern at the back. So all I have to do is swing down, make sure I'm internally rotating my shoulder, and that stick is pretty much gonna do it all for you. My wrist isn't doing a whole lot. Most of it is in my shoulder. When you finish a low whip at the bottom and you're coming through 6, 9, and 12, you're gonna stop at 12. And rather than doing a wrist roll here, you're gonna push your right arm straight and you're gonna grab the bottom of the hilt with your left hand and you're gonna strike here. So as if somebody were bringing in a strike on a 45 or a horizontal angle, you're gonna stop whatever's coming to you. And you wanna make sure that you're turning your hips into it so that your stick stops. Try and get it to stop perpendicular, completely vertical. From this straight perpendicular position, you're gonna lift the blade end up first. So you're gonna bring that blade up through 3, 12, 9, down through 6, and you're gonna stop this hand as it comes out to about 4 o'clock on the other side, and that's where we're gonna add in that head catch. Now this head catch is rad. We know that. It looks awesome. But it's gonna take a little bit of finesse because there's a little bit of technique involved because you don't wanna smash yourself in the face with a heavy hilt or a stick of any kind. That never feels good. What we're gonna do from this 4 o'clock position is I wanna make sure that my arm stays as straight as possible. And I'm gonna take this blade end and I'm gonna start bringing it up towards my right shoulder. Not my face, my right shoulder. Because if you pull this end straight up towards your face, guess what's gonna get hit? This. But if you bring it up to your shoulder, if you miss it, it's gonna pass your shoulder and it'll just fall on the floor, which is okay. So I'm gonna bring the blade end up to my right shoulder. When I've moved about 45 degrees, all I'm gonna do is open my hand. And this is called an open hand release, but you're just opening your hand and pulling your wrist towards you. There's nothing else happening here. It's one of the simplest releases you can do. When that happens, you're gonna release. The top end is gonna come. It's gonna do one full turn in the air, and your left hand, which is gonna be above your head, like this, with your palm facing up, fingers open, ready to catch. And notice that my left hand is on my right shoulder, so that's why you want to be pulling it to your right shoulder. My left hand is not here. So again, 45 degrees, my hand is ready, and I'm just gonna pull that top end towards me. The stick or the staff or the sword is gonna spin one full time, and that hilt is going to land perfectly in your head. Now the tricky part with this one is finding the amount of force you need to get that sword to turn over one time and catch it in your hand every single time. Because if you do it consistently, you will catch it every time. So you need to experiment with the amount of force, how straight your elbow is gonna be, and how high you need to pull up that tip before you release your hand and catch it on the other side. However, once you dial in all those pieces, you're gonna catch this thing every single time. From your forward figure eights, 3 o'clock, drop it down through 6, up through 9, 12, do that head loop towards the right, push it out through 3, down through 6, 9, 11, through the back, push to 6, 9, 12, add that wrist roll again. 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, head loop, low whip, high whip, low whip. Then when you're ready, after that low whip, you're gonna push that right arm straight out, strike, come up through 3, 12, 9, 6 to 4 o'clock, get that left hand ready, catch it above your head. That's a pretty rad combo. So that's it for our April Badass Skill of the Month. High whip, into a strike, into head catch. Feeling like a badass. I know you can do it. Remember, you're doing 100 to 1,000 reps before the end of the month. That means you're gonna have to do this whole combo all together for it to count as one. Now, if you wanna join my private Facebook group full of freestyle staff badasses just like yourself, sharing their progress and their journey of these tutorials and my monthly challenges. I invite you to be there. It's an amazing group of amazing people. And you can get in there by going to michellecsmith.com, click a little button that says join the movement. It'll ask you for your email address, and then it'll take you right to that Facebook group. And it is a very special place full of awesome people sharing their journeys in this amazing freestyle staff art. And since you're here, why don't you subscribe to my YouTube channel and all of my social media sites. I'm always posting videos and tutorials, and I would love to have you on this journey with me. And thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Of our high-low. Oh my gosh. So if you notice, we have a top half and we have a bottom half. And